Behold, my stuff.
Hey YouTube, what's going on? Welcome back to Gothman's Epic Stuff. Today I'm going to show you something brand new. I'm very excited about it. I knew I had to have it the moment I saw it. It's been freaking me out. It's something brand new to Galaxy's Edge. And it is the new 1-to-1 scale Babu Frik interactive toy. The fact that they're starting to make 1-to-1 scale things and more props and less toys, in the sense that these are interactive role-playing items, as they like to call them, that's amazing. And the fact that they made a 1-to-1 Babu is just huge, and I'm super thrilled with it. And this is Babu, and this is a 1-to-1 scale Babu Frik. He is absolutely adorable, and he's a toy. And so bear in mind when you get this, it's a toy. It's not meant to be a sideshow collectible. It's a toy. Having said that, this is probably the coolest toy Star Wars has ever put out, because this guy looks like a prop replica, and with a little bit of paint, he's going to look a lot like a prop replica, because I'm going to work on a little bit. There are some details in terms of paint that are missing. There's some red stripes here that should be there and some things like that, but overall the sculpt matches Babu Frik. It's all there. The color matches up. The hood here is all rubberized. The helmet moves. There's real hair. This whole face is silicone, and you can manipulate it. We're going to take a closer look at him. The belt is rubber, so the loincloth is rubber. There's a little rubber pouch here. The shoulder joints have full ball socket articulation, so that's kind of cool. He does not bend at the elbow, but he does bend at the wrist, so the wrist turns, and it also can move in and out in addition to turning rotationally. So that makes an interesting sort of like, you give me cookie, you know. So obviously I have like set up Grogu like with the cookie, and then Babu's like cookie. So you know you can have a lot of fun with this, and it will make a really cool display. If, like myself, you have a 3PO head, you can actually have this Babu working on a 3PO head, which is how I'm going to display him. I have to make him a blowtorch. But overall, this is just really, really cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little bit of the box, and I'm going to go and show you what this thing looks like turned on, and then we're going to do a deep dive. So let's quickly just turn him on. There's a switch in the back, which I will show you later. And you see Babu's head immediately rights. So let's just go ahead and see a little bit of what he does. First things first. You heard that sound? That is lit up. So that, as I bring it up, turns off. You can see that. So that is very cool. He's got a chest button here, and when you push it, come on. So let's bring this around. Let's get a closer look at Babu. So as you can see, like I said, the face is silicone. So it has a very, very rubbery feel to it, and you can manipulate it. That's good. It's not latex. It won't rot. This feels much more like a vinyl. This feels more like a vinyl. This is more of a vinyl, and these are hard molded plastic. And the paint job's pretty good. You know, as you go around, you can see there is some subtle shading in the neck and things like that. It needs some washes. You definitely need to do some washes. And you can see on the wrists, you know, they didn't quite get all of the strap with the brown, so that could use it. The fingernails there are fingernails, but they are the same color, so there's going to need to be some painting there. Same with the toes, though I will say the toes look like a little better paint job than that. Now on the back, you do see he's got the battery pack, so you screw in, and then the button we talked about. And on the front of the chest, if you position him in just the wrong way, you'll see this button as well. But like I said, it's a toy, so you're kind of supposed to accept certain things like that. So let's go ahead and mess around with this a little bit and see what else he does. So as you can see just in the eye there, he does have set eyes, and there are these little sockets. They are supposed to come up just a wee bit more than they do. And so I may try to fix that, but I don't see myself really spending too much time with it. Or if I'm really concerned about that part of it, I'll just drop the visor, which is also fine. The hair is kind of funny and funky. You know, it's cheap, synthetic. It's nothing special. You know, this is a little wispier than this. And so there may be a situation where we want to trim that out a little bit and make it just a little less obnoxious. But for the most part, again, the fact that it's hair and it's not molded onto the face is pretty cool. Watch out, Bubba. So, Babu's got a number of phrases. You heard, hey, hey. You heard the, oh, boy.
Hello, I Babu Frik.
Hi, Babu Frik. Uh-oh. My favorite.
Yes, Babu.
That one, I remember. The laughing.
Good. Remember, go black. Black.
So pretty much every single sound that Babu makes made it into this figure's banks, which is just too cool, because I was very much in love with this character. Like, when I saw The Rise of Skywalker, I was like, well, that's my new favorite fucking Star Wars character. My wife loves him. I love him. I was happy they decided to make him live at the end, and he showed up in Zori's ship. Like, I liked it so much. You guys saw on this channel, I bought the plushie Babu, because I was like, hey, it's Babu. I'm getting it. So when this came out, I knew immediately I was going to get it. So his face needs a black wash. But what I really like also is that, even though you can't see it on the back, there's so much detail on this Babu Frik. I really enjoyed the quality that this is. There is a little bit of black washing. You can see it on his chest a little bit, because he's covered in grease in the show. So let's take a look. Well, before I do that, let's just talk about some of the positives and negatives. So I've accentuated all the positives that I can. Negatives are that even though the wrists do hinge, because of the way they're set up, they don't move so great. And the joints get very loose. So positioning it in just the way you want it is a little hard, particularly on this hip joint. It's very loose, and he falls because this is extremely top heavy. So that means you're gonna have to reinforce this with an O-ring or something like that to try to get him to stay in place. So I may throw some O-rings around his foot and in there to kind of hold him in place a little better so that he's staying still. Or I may just glue his legs in place like this, because honestly, when am I gonna need him to sit? I mean, he can sit, and that's great, but I don't see myself ever needing that. But, you know, he's a little wobbly, and that's because he's a toy. So I am probably going to end up either gluing these into place or potentially putting in an O-ring or something. And so there's that. Because they don't bend at the elbow joint, you don't get a ton of flexibility in how you're going to position him. But I actually accentuate that as a positive, because if you want something to look like it's a statue from the show or the movie, then you don't want an elbow joint. You don't want a knee joint. You want the joints to be hidden, which Babu's are. So if you can get a little blowtorch for this guy, which I may just rip off the plushie for now and stick it in his hand, then you put him on the 3PO head and you're ready to rock and roll. And then, like I said, you just sort of have him in position, and he's got the blowtorch and he's in there. You put him behind it. He can kind of do you can put him on a tilt and just sort of have him behind 3PO like, we did it. So it is a cool figure, but again, it's a toy, It does have some seams. So there's some seams on the sides here. There's that seam. So you got to be careful with how you block them. And again, you could technically glue just a touch, pull this tight, glue that there, but this is supposed to move back and forth. So it comes down to doing that. Now, could you take this apart and take out the rotational servo part and just have the face move facing forward? Yes. Is it worth it? I don't know. It's up to you. So that's what Babu does. That's what Babu is. And if I put his hands forward, he might actually balance himself. Nope, he doesn't. So again, balance is an issue with Babu. Very much you need to figure out how you want to position your Babu Frik, and hopefully he can stay there. So let's take a look at the box, because the box is kind of cool too. First of all, that's the way he looks in the actual movie. Now, what's interesting there is they do give you a very good shot of his tools. And so you can see there's some reds and things in there that are missing. There's also reds on the side of his visor that is missing. The other thing that's worth noting is if you look at these two guys, there's a tonal difference. So all the black on his face, the gray needs to come down further. We need to repaint Babu's face a little bit. So we're going to use some watercolors and some washes, and we're going to paint that up. But if you look at the fingers, they actually don't really change the color of the fingernails. As a result of that, it's just dirtier. So we may just need a black wash. But the blowtorch is definitely something we need to make. There's some Arabesh and stuff on here, which is kind of cool. But I think the biggest thing to note is contact Babu Frik. F-R-I-C-K. That is not how you spell his name. So that is a misspell. That means that needs to get changed. Now, on the back, they did the promotional shot of the guy. And you can see there is some black on his face and stuff. And that gray did come down over the nose a little bit more originally. And so the paint job was a little more aggressive on the prototype than it was on the one that we have. And you can see they didn't punch the hair. They just kind of glued it on there. So the prototype looked a little different than the one they released, which is nothing new. But again, going into the fingers and stuff, you can see they did a lot more black wash than they did on the final figure. So that's okay with me, because then I can just go do that. And then again, we have the logo that shows up all over Galaxy's Edge. More Arabesh, the Droid Depot logo. And when you buy it, there is this viewing window. Now what I like about that is there's a nice shot of Babu's shop from Rise of Skywalker. And I do enjoy that, because you do see a nice shot of Babu photoshopped in there, and it looks really cool. Makes him look a little bigger than he is. He's about the size of this toy, which is what I really like about it. I want a one-to-one thing. I always want a one-to-one thing, and I want to put it next to my one-to-one Grogu, but you could even leave him in the box and he'll display nice, or you could come up with a custom backer and put him in here. But the only reason I even considered saving the box is because on the inside, it's spelled correctly. On the front, not correctly. Babu Frik with a C, Babu Frik with just a K. So that little error makes me kind of want to hold on to this, just because I'm assuming they're going to fix it at some point and swap them out. I kind of figured it would already have happened, but it didn't. So I'm not so sure if I want to save it, or maybe just save this one panel and keep that. I haven't figured it out yet. I don't really know what it would be worth as an error print. I truly don't. Any display, that's pretty awesome, where you've got two one-to-one scale Star Wars aliens in your house and they're kind of interacting. I mean, like, that's something we couldn't have growing up, and the fact that I got a one-to-one Yoda, out at Red 5 Toys and Collectibles, I can bring him into the mix and do a whole thing. So yeah, so I have just this wonderful growing menagerie of Star Wars aliens that I'm very happy about. And Babu looks great, and really happy with Grogu. And in terms of Rise of Skywalker stuff, I did finish another Jedi text, and I'm going to go over that next.
Sacred Jedi text.
I'm shooting this in front of the Harry Potter section because, as you know, Babu Frik here was voiced by Moaning Myrtle. The actress who played Moaning Myrtle in Harry Potter reprised that role twice. So I'm a big fan, all the way going back to Bridget Jones' Diary. So I'm a big fan of that actress, and the fact that she not only voiced Babu Frik, but got to puppet Babu Frik, and is returning to do that again. I thought it was kind of cool to just set it up and do it in front of my wizarding wall that my wife and I have in the movie room. So that just changes it up a little bit, makes it a little different, and I'm really happy about it. So thank you guys for checking out Babu Frik, and if you have a chance to pick this up, Babu, I believe, retails for about $60, but it's going to be in Mando. Everybody loves Mando, so if you want a one-to-one scaled thing in Mando, or maybe you want to bring a Babu Frik for your costume in Mando for doing a season 3, then I think it's worth $60. I really do. So if you can get a smuggler to pick you up one, do so. But until then, come on, man. That's $60 right there.